China, the world's second-largest economy, is grappling with a deepening deflation, a situation that could potentially have global implications. For the first time in 7 years, China's exports are falling, down by 4.6%. This, coupled with a dip in domestic demand, paints an unsettling picture of an economy in distress. The country that has been a global powerhouse is showing signs of weakening, and the effects are rippling outwards. In response to this economic slowdown, the People's Bank of China has taken a significant step. Last month, it injected nearly $50 billion into policy-oriented banks. This move suggests an effort by the central bank to ramp up financing for housing and infrastructure projects, aiming to provide a much-needed boost to the economy. But why is this happening? Why is China, a country that has seen phenomenal growth in the past few decades, now facing such a struggle? Economists point to a variety of factors, from trade tensions with the West to internal economic policies. But the reality is that the situation is complex, and there is no one-size-fits-all answer. What is clear, however, is that China's economic quandary is not just a problem for China. As the world's second-largest economy, what happens in China doesn't stay in China. A slowdown in Chinese growth can have a domino effect on global economies, impacting everything from trade balances to commodity prices. And so, as China sinks deeper into its worst deflation in years, the world watches closely. The policies and measures that China adopts now could have far-reaching implications, shaping not just China's economic future, but the global economic landscape as well. As China sinks deeper into its worst deflation in years, the question arises, what does this mean for the rest of the world? China's deflation isn't just a domestic issue. It's a global concern. This economic downturn isn't confined within China's borders. Its ripples are felt across the globe, causing concern among economists worldwide. China's deflation signals continuing economic distress, which could mean weaker sales for Western brands doing business there. Western economies, which have been enjoying the benefits of cheaper Chinese imports, are now starting to feel the pinch. This isn't just about a drop in profits for international corporations, it's about jobs, livelihoods, and the stability of economies intertwined with China's. Moreover, China's deflation is leading to a surge in efforts by Chinese companies to unload excess goods elsewhere. This isn't just a sale, it's a desperate measure to keep afloat in a sinking economy. These efforts could potentially exacerbate trade tensions, adding another layer of complexity to an already fraught global economic landscape. Remember the European Union's accusation last fall? They claimed China was flooding the market with cheap electric vehicles, and they launched an investigation into the role of state subsidies from China. Companies in other industries, including solar power, have raised similar concerns. This isn't just about fair competition, it's about the survival of industries and the potential loss of jobs in the face of cutthroat prices. Adam Wolf, an emerging markets economist at Absolute Strategy Research, warned that persistent deflation or very low inflation in China could contribute to a higher trade surplus and more trade frictions with the rest of the world. This isn't just a prediction, it's a potential reality that could reshape the global economic order. As China's deflation becomes a bigger source of concern, the urgency for Beijing to reverse falling prices and revive growth increases. This isn't just a challenge, it's a race against time to prevent a debt deflation spiral like Japan experienced in the 1990s. The longer the deflation stays, the bigger the stimulus measures it requires, as Robin Xing, chief China economist at Morgan Stanley, pointed out. This isn't just about economics, it's about preventing a vicious cycle of even weaker demand and more deflation. China's current economic situation echoes past crises and raises concerns about the future. As we dig deeper into the layers of this economic conundrum, we find striking resemblances to the Asian financial crisis in 1998. That crisis saw countries across the region overheating, entering recessions that took years to recover from. Economists at Morgan Stanley have described China's current state as the longest and deepest deflation since that time, a chilling comparison indeed. The specter of Japan's experience in the 90s also looms large. Japan fell into a notorious debt deflation spiral, a vicious cycle where falling prices led companies to cut wages, and consumers, in response, held off on purchases. This in turn led to even weaker demand and more deflation. The fear is that China could find itself trapped in a similar downward spiral if decisive action is not taken. Robin Xing, chief China economist at Morgan Stanley, has emphasized the critical role of stimulus measures. The size and speed of these policies cannot be underestimated. As Xing suggests, the longer the deflation stays, the bigger the stimulus measures it requires. It's a race against time, and the stakes have never been higher. But it's not just China that has a lot riding on the success of these measures. The world is watching with bated breath because China's economic fate is not an isolated issue. It's a cog in the intricate machinery of the global economy. Any significant shift in China's economic climate can have far-reaching implications. While China grapples with deflation, the rest of the world watches anxiously, understanding that the country's economic fate is intrinsically tied to global economic health. A closer look at China's trade data reveals the extent of the country's economic challenges. China's Customs Authority recently released data that underscores the complexity of the situation. It's not all doom and gloom. In fact, the country's exports picked up momentum in December, gaining 2.3% from a year earlier. However, it's not just about what goes out, but also what comes in. The data showed that imports remained weak, a clear sign that Chinese consumers are wary of opening their wallets. This cautious consumer sentiment isn't a sudden development. It has been a recurring theme throughout 2023, a year that proved challenging for China's economy. The data paints a picture of a year that saw Chinese exports fall 4.6% from a year earlier, marking the first decline in 7 years. While the export sector managed to regain some ground towards the end of the year, the overall downward trend is a cause for concern. It's a sobering reminder that the world's second-largest economy is grappling with significant challenges. Even as China battles deflation and economic slowdown, its trade data tells a tale of resilience and adaptability. The increase in exports, despite the economic headwinds, is a testament to the country's ability to remain competitive in the global market. Yet, the weak import data highlights the need for measures to boost domestic demand and restore consumer confidence. In the grand scheme of things, the trajectory of China's economy is not just a national concern, but a global one. The world has its eyes set on the East, acutely aware that the ripples of China's economic performance will inevitably reach their shores. As China continues to navigate its economic challenges, the world continues to watch and wait, understanding that the outcome will have far-reaching implications.